1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi everyone, this is Jewish Talk coming to you from Nassau Community College on 90.3 WHPC, also streaming on the iHeart and the iTunes app. This program is later archived on Spreaker.com. So hi there, my name is Rabbi Perl. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This all depends on when you are listening and joining us. Well, let me ask you this question. How was your day? Fine. Okay. How was yours? Fine. How many times have you had this conversation? In how many homes across the world is this very exchange happening right now? Thousands, I would think. And it makes sense, after all. How earth-shattering can each day be? Many would consider it fortunate when a day passes by without drama, without a regular, boring day, indistinguishable from yesterday. When you can come home and tell your spouse, your parent, your roommate, it was fine. Is that so bad? Ladies and gentlemen, my answer is yes. Hello. We could and should do better. Let me explain. In the Torah portion that was read in the synagogues throughout the world, we read Naso. This continues a theme of the entire book of Numbers, which lists the tallies of Levite families. Unlike the rest of the Jewish people, who were counted from 20 to 60, the Levites were counted from the ages 30 to 50. Why? Because that was the age window to serve in the temple, a role reserved for the Levites. From the age of 30 years and upwards until the age of 50 years, who are fit to perform the service for the service and the work of the carrying in the tent of the meeting. Those are the words directly from the Torah. Rashi, the commentary, explains, what's this puzzling repetition of the words, the service for the service? And he explains, this refers to the music with the cymbals and the harps, which is a service for another service, namely the sacrifices. Because at the time the sacrifices were brought, it was accompanied by the instruments who played the music. Now, in the temple, the staff members with the biggest job descriptions were the Kohanim, the priests. They performed the bulk of the work. The Levites had a few jobs, and arguably their flagship position was that of musicians. The mission describes a beautiful scene of tens of Levites standing on the steps of the temple in a grand symphony, serenading God on a plethora of instruments as the sacrifices were offered. Now, the musical experience was quite, it had a system, had an order. The Levites would sing a different song every day of the week. All in all, it was a moving experience, meant to evoke awe in the hearts of those serving God in that holy place. While the temple is sadly no longer in service, the Levite tradition of daily song is not lost. Every day, shortly after the morning Amidah service, we recite the Shir Shel Yom, the song of the day, namely the chapter of Psalms that the Levites sang in the temple in bygone days. In fact, prior to reciting the daily chapter, we actually say, today is the first day of the week on which the Levites would chant in the temple. So why am I telling you this? You say, Rabbi, I got up early in the morning to listen to you. You're boring. What are you talking about? What's your point already? I'm thinking about myself. What is my point? Why am I telling you all of this? Well, I'm going to bring you back to the summer of 1973, where the Lubavitcher Rebbe delivered a powerful message about this little talked about tradition. It was relevant then and is just as relevant today. So as I mentioned, this portion of the morning prayers is called the Song of the Day, Shir Shel Yom. Now, conventionally, when you read that, it means the chapter of the Psalms that was sung in the temple on this day of the week. But if you didn't have all the background information that we've just discussed, you would be forgiven for understanding the words exactly as they read. today's song. That means the song that day. Insert the day of the week sings. Hayom Yom. That means this is the day when the day sings. What does this mean? What does it mean that Sunday sings? What does it mean that Tuesday sings or another day? This is where we go back to that boring conversation I opened up with. Well, many will argue that Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday really aren't different one from another. And hey, the less drama, the better. Nothing can be farther from the truth. After all, if God created Sunday, and then Monday, and then Tuesday, they must be different from one another. If they were really the same, if every boring day was just a meaningless continuation of yesterday's randomness, different only by the dint of the day on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, come on, then God essentially wasted his time creating them each separately. The sun sets at night and rises in the morning. What does that mean? It's gifting us with a new day, a new opportunity. If God ordained it as such, it must be that. There's something inherently unique about today that wasn't available yesterday and won't be available tomorrow. Every day has its own unique song. Wednesday is jazz, Thursday is classical, Friday is a mix. You wake up to a new day, and now it's your turn to discover its rhythm, its beat, and its tune. So what all this means in plain, simple English is, ladies and gentlemen, every day is consequential. Let's not be lazy with ourselves and let a day pass by thinking, hey, it's just another day. Let me put it to bed and hope for something more interesting tomorrow. Let's not let ourselves get away with assuming that change, progress, or something notable is reserved for a full year, or at best, a month. Oh, I'm going to make sure next month will be better. Next month, I'll finally clean out the garage and start going to shul. But tomorrow, leave me alone. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. This is a sad mistake. Each day is belting out a different tune. And if you perk up your ears enough, you'll hear it. Go ahead. Make every day meaningful and consequential. You may not build the Empire State Building anew every day, but you can most definitely build something of value today, tomorrow, and every day thereafter. Now, after describing the order in which the 12 tribes travel through the desert, the Torah tells us of the census of the tribe of Levi, and the tribe tasked with transporting the building, the Mishkan, and taking it, assembling it, and disassembling it. So like everything in the Torah, the details of the story of the Levites are just as relevant in our lives today as they were to our ancestors in the desert. For me too, I would say for all of us, we too are tasked with the mission of the Levites. What was their job? It was to establish this tabernacles. Well, guess what? You and me and all of us, we also have a mission. And that mission includes erecting a home for God in a spiritual desert, in the world that we live in. In order to create this desert, this sanctuary in the desert, we rely on the spiritual part of ourselves, on the Levite within our soul. The tribe of Levi was divided into 3 families, the families of Gershon and Merari, and they were tasked with transporting the curtains that covered the Mishkan and the wood planks of the Mishkan walls. As the Torah tells us, this is the service of the Gershonites, families to serve and to carry. They shall carry the curtains of the Mishkan and the tent of meeting. It was covered over with a special skin overlaying it. As for the sons of Merari, this is the charge of their burden, and they are to carry the planks, the bars, and the pillars, and the socks. So each of them, each individual member of these 3 families of Levites had a particular job. To create a sanctuary in our lives, to build a haven of spirituality in the midst of a spiritual desert, we too employ the skills of the Levite families. So, like the families of Gershon and Merari, we must too create walls and a roof in order to take control over our environment. We must cultivate the capacity to say no, to reject negative influences, temptations, and distractions. Yet, saying no, rejecting the distractions and negativity is not enough. The third family of the Levites, the family of the Kahat, they were tasked with transporting the vessels of the Mishkan. That was the ark, the menorah, the table, and the altars. Aaron and his sons, they shall finish covering the holy, and all of the vessels, they were all covered up, prepared for the travel. And following that, it was the sons of Kahat who would come forward, and they would be carrying the ark. And this is how the Torah describes. Each of the three groups, these three families, had a particular job. So like the family of Kahat, we too must fill our space with holy vessels and positive experiences. So while there are those who carry the walls and the planks and the curtains, most important, just like in your own home, having a beautiful home with walls and curtains and windows is only the beginning. The real home is what's going on inside the home. The menorah, the table, everything that we do there. The positive experiences. The spiritual mission of each of the Levite families is alluded in their names. Gershon is derived from the word garesh, which means to chase away, to divorce, to get rid of. Merari comes from the word mar, which means bitter. They represent the difficult task of learning to say no to those things that pull us away from our commitment to holiness. Kahat, on the other hand, is derived from the biblical word yikhas, which means to gather. Kahat teaches us that we must cultivate positive experiences and gather them into our sanctuary to use them as a conduit to fulfill the purpose of our creation. So this, my friends, is the first idea that I want to share with you. Make every day count. And how do we make every day count? By building a home. Obviously, creating boundaries, pushing out those things that don't belong in our home, but at the same time, filling our home, every day of our home, every minute, with positive experiences, as symbolized by the menorah, which gives out light and wisdom, symbolized by the table, which is the idea of being healthy and well, and having the right resources to stay that way and to sit around the table with the family and friends and share words of Torah. That's a home. And that is something we do at all times. Now, I want to talk a little bit about something, one of my favorite subjects, and that is fish. Fish, baby, fish. And I know that everybody, as soon as the program ends, they run for their bagels and cream cheese with, lox. I want you to know that there is specific reasons of why in the Jewish tradition we eat fish. Fish! On Friday night, Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon. Every meal includes fish. Why? Why is that? I know that you couldn't sleep last night. You hoped the rabbi would talk about this. I've been eating fish for years and years and years. I have no idea. Why do we eat fish on Shabbos? Now, first of all, it primarily is based on the fact that on the Shabbos, it's a time to have delight. A day to experience delight and to honor it. Both delight and honor it, our sages explain, means we honor it by wearing special Shabbos clothes. We wear Shabbos clothes, clean clothes. And the delight means eating, enjoying fine food and drink. So there's a specific mitzvah to bring honor and delight to the Shabbos. Now, in Talmudical times, fish was considered a delight and was savored on the Shabbat. In fact, the Talmud tells us a story of how Yosef Mokir Shabbos, an individual who cherished the Shabbos. He would always buy fish in honor of Shabbos, and he merited to discover a precious gem in the belly of the fish. which, of course, blessed him so much. So on a basic level, it seems as fish is really just a preference. And if one prefers another food over fish, there's no reason to specifically seek it out and serve it on Shabbat. However, I'm going to give you some reasons that are based in Jewish law as well as in mystics, in the Jewish mysticism, that one should try to have fish on the Shabbos meal. And unless, of course, a person, it's harmful for him or he dislikes it, so much. But for anyone who does not have any problems, Shabbos is the time to eat fish. Now, throughout our generations, we've been meticulous about this, to eat fish on Shabbos. And there are many, many laws related to this. But I'm going to give you some reasons now. 11, if you hang in with me, 11 reasons. Bring out that pencil. Sharpen it right now. And I'm going to share with you reasons of why we eat fish on Shabbos. First one is, it comes in the name of Rabbi Yisachar, from the Bnei Yisachar, Rabbi Tzvi Elimelech, and he explains that during the 6 days of creation, we find that 3 things are specifically blessed by God. On Thursday, on the 5th day of creation, God blesses the fish and says, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters of the sea." A second blessing was presented to mankind. God blessed Adam and Eve. "Be fruitful and multiply." We also have blessings of Shabbat, where God says, God blessed the 7th day and he declared it holy. So we have here 3 specific blessings. And when we combine them all together, we have the following. We have man. So the blessing was on fish, on man, on Shabbos. So what do we do on Shabbat? We combine all 3. Man eats fish on Shabbos, and therefore is blessed with this 3-fold priestly blessing. The blessing, there's a blessing to mankind, blessing to the fish, blessing to the day of Shabbat. What are the 3 priestly blessings that correspond to 3 levels of blessings? May the Almighty bless you and watch over you. May the Lord shine his countenance upon you and grant you grace. May the Lord raise his countenance towards you and grant you peace. That 3 blessings is very much reflected on the 3 specific blessings given to fish, to mankind, and Shabbat. So on Shabbos, we bring them all together. Mankind eats fish on this holy day of Shabbat. Let's keep going. Number 2, on Shabbat, the 7th and final day of the week, we eat foods that are associated with the number 7. The Hebrew word for fish is dag, Daled Gimel, which has a numerical value of 7. Daled is 4, Gimel is 3. Number 3, the mystics explain that if the souls of a righteous individual has to return to earth, they are more than often reincarnated in fish, which is one of their surroundings. Because a fish lives in water, and a righteous person lives in their environment. Unlike other animals, fish don't need to be slaughtered. Therefore, they cannot become unkosher due to the preparations or any damages to their innards. So on the holy day of Shabbos, we have the extra merit and energy to elevate those souls through using them for the mitzvah of delighting in the Shabbos. Number 4, unlike meat and fowl, which require a special process in order for the food to be kosher and ready for us to elevate, fish are ready to be elevated without much preparation. Eating fish on Shabbos symbolizes that on this day, there is no need for extra work to elevate the mundane. This is also one of the reasons why in a meal in which both fish and meat are served, the custom is to have the fish course first. We first approach and tackle the food that is spiritually easier to elevate, and then we move on to more difficult foods. Number 5. Just as a fish lives in the water, which is crucial for its survival, so we must remain immersed in the Torah, which is compared to the water. And there's a very famous story that about the fox and the fishes, where the fox says to the fish, "Come out of the water, I'll take care of you." And of course the fish says, "Listen, it's bad enough, dangerous enough living in the water, which is our source of life. I'm going to come out for you." But though fish are constantly in the water. It is said that when a drop of rain falls, they open up their mouths to snap up the drops, as if they've never tasted water in their life. So too we can learn from that. When we are immersed in the Torah at all times, we should always make an effort to learn new interpretations on Shabbat. Additionally, it is written in the Zohar that Shabbat is dedicated to the Torah and to matters of the soul, for it was given on Shabbos, that the Torah was given to us on Shavuos, which we just celebrated, was on a Shabbat. So Shabbat is an apropos time to study the Torah and get new insight each week, just as a fish enjoys a new drop of water. Number six. I know you're going to catch me, everybody. You're counting to see if I'm going to keep up to my words. Fish don't have eyelids. As a result, their eyes are always open. We eat fish on Shabbos to allude to the fact that the Almighty God is watching over every one of us with love and compassion. Number 7. Fish were the first created living beings, and Shabbos is the root of all life for the upcoming week. Therefore, the custom is to begin the Shabbat with fish. During the great flood in the days of Noah, and this is number 8, the land animals were also punished, since they had become corrupted. The fish, however, were able to survive in the water, since they had not become corrupted. So on Shabbat, when we celebrate the most spiritually elevated day of the week, it is only fitting that we do so with the most spiritually elevated of creations, which is the fish. Number 9, everybody. Number 9. In general, kosher animals have mitzvahs performed on them prior to their being eaten, right? A typical animal there's kosher slaughter, has to be salted, and we have to do this and that and the other. So many things are done with the animal before you get to eat it. Fish, however, are the exception. They have no special mitzvahs or rituals required to be formed and over them prior to consumption. Therefore, we make up for this lack. We eat fish on Shabbos, therefore associating fish with the great mitzvah of Shabbat. Let's go on. Number 10, everybody. The Medrash tells us that the manna had every conceivable taste that one could wish for, except for the taste of fish. That is why the people murmured, "We remember the fish that we ate in Egypt." This lack of fish became the focus of their dissatisfaction and complaints in the desert. Therefore, we now have the custom to eat fish, demonstrating that we too are thankful to God and our delight in the Shabbos is complete. What was once a symbol of grievances to God has now become a symbol of gratitude. The final, number 11, my friends. The holy day of Shabbat is a glimmer, a taste of the world to come, which is referred to Yom Shekula Shabbos, a day that is completely Shabbat. When everything is over now, and all the pandemics, and all the wars, and everything else is all over, and the Messiah comes, Mashiach comes, it'll be referred to a day of complete Shabbat. Since one of the foods that will be served at this great feast when Mashiach comes is the Leviathan, fish, we have the custom to eat fish on Shabbat. So with this custom, we also show our yearning for the coming of Mashiach, and may be very speedily in our days. So you see, my friends, there is so much to the fish, the different reasons, and just as I opened today with the importance of making every day count, and every day has its own song. There's a book called Perek Shira, the Chapters of Song, and it's written by King David and King Solomon. And in that book, it defines the exact song that each creation has, whether it's a fish, whether it's an animal, whether it's a gorilla, whether it's an elephant, whether it's a mosquito, whether it's a fly, whether it's a cow, a dog, a cat, whatever. Every single thing, every single created being has a song, its own specific song. And that is something very important to recognize. Just as the Levites sang their song on a Sunday and different on Monday, everything in this world has its song and has its role in the symphony of life. And how important it is for us, each of us, to be playing our role in that symphony of life. And that life goes on a constant basis. And I would even share with you that we all carry a sense of royalty. Every one of us has a sense of royalty. How do I say this? Obviously, mankind, humankind, is the top of the chain, right? I mean, it was created, man made Adam and Eve at the end of creation, so that the world will be there for him and her to use it in a proper manner. But a person has to approach life with a sense of royalty. What is a king or a queen? They don't worry about small details, landscaping, the car, the gas, cleaning the car, laundry, who knows what. They can focus on leadership activities, being example to their people and inspiring people. But all the mundane activities, they are taken care of. Well, you know what? A person can go about their life with the same kind of feeling. Obviously, we have to do all those mundane things. We don't have chauffeurs to driving our cars around. We get involved in all those things, but one's attitude, one's approach, one's outlook is one of purpose. When a person lives with a purpose of holiness and recognition of godliness in their life, they are, in a sense, living a royal life. Because they're able to stand head and shoulders above everything. Yes, they're involved in everything. They're going to make a living, going to come and go. But nevertheless, their outlook, the purpose of why they're alive, is a step above. And that really is really something that began, in the wilderness where there was manna from heaven and everything was taken care of. It continued, and today in our world, we can still maintain that sense of royalty by seeing divine providence in everything that we do in our life. To be able to look at world situations and see it from a different, deeper mindset, as opposed to just, it's very, very hard, and very, I would say, depressing to simply look at the world today and just put it into political terms, or to kind of explain it away because of this, because of that. There is a deeper side. That's the royal view, you could say, the royalty of being able to look at something and see a deeper relationship, a thematic. And may Hashem bless us that very speedily, if we look for the divine providence, we will see that with everything that's going on in the world. This is your host, Rabbi Perl, wishing you a fantastic day, fantastic week, fantastic month, to make every moment count. And dear friends, when you eat that fish today, whether it's lox or whatever you're having today, have in mind the 11 reasons. This is your host wishing you all the best. Shalom.